Well, head coach Pat Fitzgerald's back for his 200th year as head coach at Northwestern after leading them to a division title last year in a shortened 2020 season. Can Northwestern make a return trip to the Big Ten title game in 2021? Let's find out right now when I give you a preview and a game-by-game prediction for the Northwestern Wildcats. Oh yeah, good morning in that though, but it's Uncle Lou here though. Yeah, that's right, it's me, Uncle Lou. Live for you on LouTube today. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it also. And in addition to that as well, subscribe to this channel if you're not already. Did you know I post college football videos almost every single day of the year? It's true, and some of them are even watchable. I don't know about this one. It is Northwestern after all, but that determination is not left up to me. It's left up to you, the viewer. Let me know at the end of this video what you thought, and if you think I got the record right or wrong, and if you think I'm wrong, tell me which games I got wrong and what you think their record might be. All right, like I said, Northwestern did win their division last year in the Big Ten, making it to the Big Ten title game before taking a loss to playoff team Ohio State. Pat Fitzgerald, been there since 2006. Won the division not just last year, but 2 of the last 3 years. They won also back in 2018. A bump in the road in 2019. They went 3-9 in 2019. But in 2018, 2020, won the division. Unable to win the Big Ten. Ohio State, of course, one of the best teams and best programs in all of college football during the playoff era. That's not an easy hurdle to get over, but Northwestern has done a pretty good job over the last few years. In fact, they've got 3 10-win seasons under Pat Fitzgerald. Top 25, they finished in the top 25 4 times since 2015, finishing 10th last year. Really good for Northwestern. Fitzgerald turned down another NFL offer last year. He's turned down multiple offers from the NFL, and Northwestern gave him a huge 10-year contract extension. Northwestern and Pat Fitzgerald. Pat Fitzgerald's a good coach. In fact, he might be a great coach. Recruiting is always going to be an issue at Northwestern, regardless of who the coach is. Number one, not a whole lot of talent in the immediate area, and a lot of the talent that is there gets swallowed up by some of the bigger schools, Notre Dame, Ohio State, other teams like that. Northwestern is at its best when they have a veteran team. I make this analogy sometimes to college basketball. There's a lot of small schools in college basketball that can make deep NCAA tournament runs, right? And usually it's because they've got a group of juniors and seniors who have been playing together for 2 or 3 years. So as a team, they're really, really good, even though, you know, individually, they may not be as talented as your Kentuckys, your Dukes, your North Carolinas, your Kansases, your teams like that, right? A lot of those teams recruit big-name high school players in basketball. They come in, they play a year or 2, they go to the NBA. Some of the smaller schools in college basketball, if they can get some kids to stick around, juniors, seniors, that kind of thing, that's when you see them go on a run. The same can be said, it's sort of, although I'll admit it's not nearly the same, with Northwestern in football. They're never going to be able to recruit with the big boys. They're never going to have top 10 recruiting classes nationally. They're rarely going to have a recruiting class even in the top half of the Big Ten. But Pat Fitzgerald does seem to get the most out of the talent he can get up there at Northwestern. And as long as they can field a team every couple of years with a couple of really good players and some junior and senior leadership on the team, then we see Northwestern have some pretty good seasons. Let's start by taking a look at Northwestern's defense for this coming up year. Now, last year's Northwestern defense may have been the best defense in school history. They only allowed 15.9 points per game. That's amazing when you think about the age of offense that we're in college football. There are some really, really good defenses loaded with NFL talent at all 3 levels that can't hold opponents to 15.9 a game. That's really remarkable, even in a shortened season. I don't even want to hear about who they played or who their opponents were or anything else. If you go through the course of a season, even a shortened season, only allowing 15.9 points per game, that's really, really good. Now, the problem is, like I mentioned, you need veteran players, in my opinion, on Northwestern to have a really, really good year. They lose key players from last year's defense at all 3 levels, on top of losing their defensive coordinator. I'm not sure that Northwestern recruits at a level to make that up in 1 year. If you go back to 2018, won the division, lost some key players. 2019, they go 3-9. I'm not saying they're going to go 3-9 this year, but the point, I think you understand the point I'm making. Now, they do get back All-American safety Brandon Joseph. He may be the best player on the defense. He's definitely going to be in the NFL playing on Sundays one of these days. Bad news, you lose cornerback Newsome. He was probably your best player last year. He's gone now to the NFL. Good news, cornerback Cameron Mitchell. he may end up being just as good, maybe even better as Newsome was. He's really, really good. The linebacker core, last year you had those 3 linebackers. Northwestern gave them a nickname, the Irish law firm, they called them. I guess they were all 3 Irish guys or whatever. 2 of them are gone. You do get Burgeon back, so you got to replace those other 2. Again, not easy to replace that caliber of linebacker, in my opinion, with the way Northwestern recruits. That's not to say they can't have a good year. It's not even to say they can't win the division. I would be shocked, though, if this defense was as good in 21 as it was in 20. Look over on the offensive side of the ball. I almost did this video yesterday. Good thing I didn't. Yesterday, there was no starter named as quarterback at Northwestern. Today, there is a starter named. He had a press conference yesterday. Pat Fitzgerald did, and he went ahead and made the announcement that former Clemson quarterback Hunter Johnson will be QB1 for Northwestern this year. He beat out South Carolina transfer Ryan Holinsky and one other guy. There was a sort of a 3-man race through spring and early into fall camp, but it's going to be Hunter Johnson at the quarterback position. They need more big plays offensively. You hear coaches talk about chunk plays all the time or explosive plays. Northwestern needs more of those offensively. Last year, they only averaged 4.7 yards per play. That's 110th in the nation. Not good. You got to have more explosive plays offensively. It's great that you had a good defense, but like I said, we're in an age of offense right now in college football, and 110th in yards per play, not really getting it done. At the running back position, you get 2 guys back, Cam Porter and Evan Hall. Good, not great. That doesn't mean they can't have a great year, though. Just my honest opinion of those running backs. The offensive line at Northwestern has been strong for a long, long time. As long as I can remember, really. They're able to get really good offensive linemen, and they put offensive linemen in the NFL at a pretty good clip. Left tackle, what was the left tackle's name? Skowronski. He's got a funny name. I'm probably going to pronounce it wrong. Skowronski was a true freshman last year, played left tackle, was unbelievable. He's back for his second year. He's the stud on that offensive line. Again, a future NFL player. All right, let's put the schedule up on the screen and see what Northwestern can do. All right, I mentioned this yesterday in the Penn State video, but the Big Ten, a lot of Big Ten teams are starting the season with conference opponents. Penn State's playing at Wisconsin. The same is true here for Northwestern. They open up at home against Michigan State. Michigan State year 2 under Mel Tucker. Been a down program for the last few years. It's hard to believe. Can you even remember? Michigan State actually made the college football playoff in, was it 2016? It was 2015 or 2016. They've really taken a nosedive since then. I like Mel Tucker. He formerly worked under Kirby at UGA before a stint as head coach at Colorado, now on to Michigan State last year. Unfair to judge Mel Tucker based off of last year alone. Of course, first-year head coach, no spring practice, no real summer conditioning programs because of the pandemic. Hard to judge him off of that. I like Mel Tucker. I wish him nothing but the best at Michigan State. That being said, Northwestern gets this game at home, and I just don't think Michigan State is as good right now as Northwestern is. I've got Northwestern beating Michigan State and starting 1-0. Week 2, a non-con game against Indiana State. Win. Week 3, Power 5 non-con opponent on the road at Duke. Duke may be one of the worst Power 5 teams in America this year. They're just not very good right now. Northwestern should win that game, no problem. You're on a roll, 3-0. Week 4, another non-con game, Ohio. Not Ohio State, just Ohio. You will win. Northwestern is 4-0, probably ranked in the top 15 by this point in the season. Week 5, schedule gets a little bit tougher. You got to go on the road and take on Nebraska. I don't think Nebraska is going to be a great team this year. I don't. I'm starting to lose confidence in Scott Frost more and more as each day goes by. Nebraska opens up this weekend, week 0, on the road at Illinois. If Nebraska can't win that game against Illinois, then they can't beat Northwestern either. However, for the purposes of this prediction video, I did pick Nebraska to beat Illinois in a close game, and I've got Nebraska beating you at home in what may be their biggest win of the season. I don't think they're a great team. I think Northwestern is better than Nebraska. You play them there. We see teams lose games sometimes that we don't expect them to lose. So this isn't so much me having any disrespect for Northwestern or anything like that. I just think on the road at Nebraska, even though I'm not sold on Scott Frost, I think he's good for maybe one surprise win this year. I think this game is it. You're 4-1. Then you have your bye week. Pretty good place for the bye week, just about right in the middle of the season. You come out of that, you take on Rutgers, a team with a second-year head coach in Greg Schiano. They surprised some people last year. They were better, I think, than what people thought they would be. We'll see how they do this year. But this game's at home, comes after a bye week. Pat Fitzgerald on a bye week. Good coaches and a bye week are a good combination. I think you beat Rutgers. at home. Week 8, you got to go on the road and play Michigan. Let me talk about that. Look at this 4-game stretch here. At Michigan, home against Minnesota, home against Iowa, and on the road against Wisconsin. That might be the toughest 4-game stretch any team plays all year. That is 4 really, really tough games in a row. I think you lose at Michigan on the road. I think you beat Minnesota at home, but then I think you lose to Iowa and lose on the road at Wisconsin. I think you go 1-3 in that stretch of 4 games. I think you're probably better than a couple of those teams, and I think a couple of those teams are probably better than you. If these games were a little bit more spread out on the schedule, maybe I could have you going 2-2 against those 4. But the fact that they come 4 weeks in a row in the back half of the season, it just doesn't set up good for Northwestern, in my opinion. I think you lose at Michigan, beat Minnesota at home, lose at home to Iowa, and lose on the road to Wisconsin. You finish your season up at home against Purdue and then on the road at Illinois. I think you win both of those games. Purdue has taken a step back in the last couple of years. Braum should have got out of there when he had the chance. Now he's likely going to find himself on the hot seat at the end of the year here. And Illinois, first-year head coach Brett Bielema, formerly of Wisconsin and also Arkansas. You have to play him there. It wouldn't surprise me if Illinois ends up being a little bit better than what people think they will be this year, but not good enough to beat you. You do have to play him there. I'm not even sure that matters, honestly, but I do think you beat them. That puts Northwestern at 8-4 in 2021. Not the record Northwestern fans are hoping for. And honestly, I could see Northwestern winning 9 or 10 games if a few things go their way. But I could also see you going 7-5 if Hunter Johnson doesn't work out as the QB. But still, a much better year than sort of the drop-off year from 2 years ago, right? Going back to what we talked about at the beginning. They win the division in 2018, have a little drop-off in 2019, and go 3-9. Win the division in 2020. I expect another drop-off in 2021, but nowhere near what we saw in 2019. I do like Pat Fitzgerald. I think he's a really, really good coach. Like I said, who gets the most out of the available talent that he has. I like Northwestern this year to go 8-4. Have a good morning.